Is. Can I please request all the guests to stand up for the national anthem, please? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I would now like to request the Qari to come on stage for the Tilawat-e-Quran Pak. Can I please request the Qari to come on stage for the Tilawat-e-Quran Pak?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد صدق الله العظيم.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the third edition of the Islamabad Security Dialogue. We welcome all our guests from abroad and from within Pakistan for gracing us with this occasion. I would now like to request Amir Hassan Saab, Secretary, National Security Division, to come on the podium and deliver his welcome remarks.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Mr. Ahsan Iqbal, Federal Minister for Planning, Development and Special Initiatives, foreign dignitaries, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to you all. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the third edition of the Islamabad Security Dialogue with the theme, Beyond Conflict, Resetting the Global Agenda in a Divided World. It is heartening to witness that in a short span of 3 years, the Islamabad Security Dialogue has emerged as one of the premier dialogues on emerging issues in global and regional security. This year, the National Security Division is once again hosting the dialogue in collaboration with member think tanks of the Advisory Board of the National Security Committee, namely Institute of Strategic Studies, Islamabad, Islamabad Policy Research Institute, Institute for Strategic Studies, Research and Analysis of National Defense University, Institute of Regional Studies, and Center for Aerospace and Security Studies. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this year's dialogue reflects the transformative changes taking place in the world amidst rising great power competition and a return to conflict. This has taken the focus away from many of the shared challenges our societies face collectively, including economic development, climate change, international law, and transformational and technological transformations. I hope that our deliberations during the coming 2 days will provide a better understanding of how our world is changing and how countries can help foster cooperation to meet some of the pressing challenges our world faces. Ladies and gentlemen, this year we will once again be hosting the second edition of the National Security Advisors Forum, the only platform in the world that brings together national security advisors of Asian countries to discuss latest perspectives on international security. Uniquely, the Islamabad Security Dialogue is also introducing the Commanders Forum, with keynote addresses by the Chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee of Pakistan, and statements by military chiefs of various other countries. They will discuss how warfare is changing in the light of recent conflicts and technological advancements. In all, we will have 7 sessions with over 40 leading international and Pakistani speakers. Sessions will focus on global economic cooperation, climate change, and the role of the international community, challenges faced by international law, and how transitions in the global order are impacting middle powers. Once again, I welcome you all to the Islamabad Security Dialogue and request Mr. Hassan Iqbal, Federal Minister for Planning, Development and Special Initiatives, to deliver his inaugural address. Thank you very much.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Excellencies, diplomats, representatives of think tanks, media representatives, Engineer Amir Hassan, Secretary, National Security Division, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. It gives me great pleasure to inaugurate the third Islamabad Security Dialogue, Pakistan's premier security dialogue which brings together leading voices from across the world to discuss challenges and opportunities in international and regional security. It is heartening to witness the Islamabad Security Dialogue continue its tradition of generating robust policy thinking on some of the most pressing issues that are reshaping our world. I am happy to see that the forum has successfully made its mark on the global intellectual landscape in a very short period of time. I welcome international delegates, speakers, and dignitaries and hope that their participation in the Islamabad Security Dialogue will generate fresh ideas for policymakers to promote cooperation and stability in the international order. I commend the team of National Security Division for selecting an appropriate theme for this year's Islamabad Security Dialogue, Beyond Conflict, Resetting the Global Agenda in a Divided World. The world indeed is witnessing new fault lines within and amongst nations. The global strategic landscape is being shaped by an intensification of geopolitical competition between major powers. This has led to a return of bloc politics, which is impacting the relevance and salience of international institutions, depleting their capacity to negotiate differences and forge consensus on our shared global challenges. The return of large-scale conflicts in the international arena is an outcome of this divided world. Rising commodity prices, energy shortfalls, and lack of focus on shared challenges such as poverty elevation, climate change, debt burden, and food security are affecting the majority of developing countries. COVID-19, ladies and gentlemen, pandemic has reminded the world of its agility and demonstrated the inherent risks and opportunities of high levels of interdependence. In coming years and decades, the world will face far more intense and cascading global challenges, ranging from disease to climate change to the disruptions from new technologies and financial crisis. And I would say that today we cannot even imagine what the future will bring through the new disruptive technologies. It's not the new technologies, but interplay of many technologies which are creating vast opportunities as well as challenges for societies, and also are likely to create far more inequality in the world because all the new drivers of development and progress are very capital intensive, whether it is computers, robotics, man-made materials, nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, telecommunications. All these are going to change the whole landscape of societies and the global economy in unimaginable ways. So therefore, it is a challenge that is creating a lot of ripples today across the world. These challenges will repeatedly test the resilience and adaptability of communities, states, and international system, often exceeding their present capacity. The looming disequilibrium between existing and future challenges and the ability of institutions and systems to respond is likely to grow and produce greater contestation at every level. In this more contested world, communities are increasingly fractured as people seek security with like-minded groups based on established and newly prominent identities. So the world and societies will be more fragmented and divided along identity politics. And we are seeing that this is a phenomena with which not just countries like Pakistan are grappling, but even country like United States is unable to find a solution to the polarization that the new type of politics and fragmentation and polarization is producing in their society. Pakistan, given our size and potential, is an important member of international community. It continues to play a crucial role in shaping the global order and contributing to consensus building on key international issues such as counter-terrorism, climate change, infrastructure development, and international peace and stability. Our strategic thrust remains to preserve our relationship with all the major powers and seek their positive convergence for developmental partnerships and economic growth. Pakistan does not believe in choosing camps. It is our learned experience that working collectively towards fulfilling the shared aspirations of our people should be the driving force of our efforts for regional and international cooperation, as stated by the founding of our nation, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. We believe that lowering of tensions is crucial for conflict resolution and shared economic prosperity. Like other major regional powers, the economies of our region are deeply integrated with regional blocs and economies. Chinese, US economy, European Union, GCC economies. While China remains our major investment partner and the largest source of imports, the US and EU are Pakistan's largest export markets. GCC is a major source of remittances for Pakistan's economy. Decoupling from these major world economic blocs is unsustainable for countries like ours. We hope that the US and China will continue to explore mechanisms that foster collective prosperity. We believe that our region, already mired in conflicts rooted in history and lack of connectivity, should be insulated from certain aspects of global geopolitical strategic competition. As we witness unprecedented changes in the global order, it is essential for us to keep in mind that it is we, the countries that collectively make the international community, that share the burden of deciding our collective futures. It is imperative that we work towards progressing towards an international system that caters to the concerns of all, especially those of developing countries and the global south on issues such as climate change, debt management, and human rights. We believe that unilateral actions, particularly coercive actions that disrupt global economies, create unnecessary hardships for ordinary citizens. It is therefore necessary that respect for international treaties and conventions should be sacrosanct to preserve global stability and prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, our government is making efforts to increase our trade and development partnerships with our traditional partners, United States, Europe, GCC, and China. We are also involved in increasing cooperation on issues of common interest such as climate change, counterterrorism, debt relief, and disaster management. We are open to expanding economic ties with the West and hope that international financial institutions will be more forthcoming in assisting debt management and will remain confined to technical parameters while doing so. Likewise, the Pakistan-China friendship has withstood the test of times. We enjoy mutual trust and alignment of views on all international issues. The relationship is truly higher than the mountains and deeper than the sea. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, that our government started in 2013 is a practical manifestation of our cooperation, which has expanded the horizon of our bilateral strategic partnership. We look forward to jointly implementing new understandings on expanding CPEC to crucial areas of the economy. Pakistan deeply appreciates China's positive role in mediating peace between brotherly countries of Saudi Arabia and Iran. This is a positive manifestation of the fact that dialogue and diplomacy remain the only pathways towards lasting peace and stability. We hope that this will help usher in a new era of stability and cooperation in the region. Pakistan hopes for an early end to the war in Ukraine and calls for a return to dialogue and diplomacy to manage differences and forge a long-standing peace agreement that addresses the security anxieties of all relevant parties. We strongly believe that continued conflict is not in the interest of anyone, especially the people of Ukraine. Pakistan has been one of the first countries to extend humanitarian assistance to the people of Ukraine since the outbreak of hostilities. We are ready to play whatever part we can in urging all sides to return to negotiation table. And this conflict also shows that today we are living in a very interconnected world. So the war in Ukraine is not a war between two countries, it is not a war on one continent, but this war has impacted each and every country in the third world, whichever continent it is located in. It has disrupted the global supply chains, and the price of this war is being paid by poor people in developing countries through very high commodity prices. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world that is facing complex and multifaceted challenges. Pakistan is no exception, and we must be prepared to deal with both traditional and non-traditional security threats. While Pakistan continues to maintain a robust conventional and strategic capability, our comprehensive national security framework recognizes the salience of non-traditional security threats such as economic challenges, food insecurity, health, climate change, human and gender security as central to ensuring the security of the lives and livelihoods of our people. Today, Pakistan faces a daunting challenge in the form of economic stability and development. For the past 1 year, our government has been focused singularly in meeting this challenge and ensuring Pakistan's economic stability even in the face of unprecedented challenges. I believe that the future of our people is tied inexorably with our success in ensuring economic security for our future. While our immediate focus is in meeting the twin challenges of current account deficit and rising inflation, our medium-term goal remains to put Pakistan back on the trajectory of economic growth that we were on in 2018. In 2017, PricewaterhouseCoopers, in its projections, had projected Pakistan to be in the top 20 economies by 2030 if it maintained that growth trajectory that we were able to witness during 2013-18. Pakistan has shown it is very resilient and has the capability to turn around in the face of most serious challenges. In 2013, in Pakistan, we would not have electricity for 16 to 18 hours. In 3 to 4 years, we were able to install 11,000 megawatts of new power and overcome our energy challenge. In 2013, not a week would pass by when a suicide bomber would not blow up in some part of the country. And by 2017-18, we had almost eliminated the threat of terrorism from our country and became a very peaceful country. Within 3 years, we were able to harness more than $25 billion worth of investments under CPEC. And I remember in 2017-18, US ambassador, EU ambassadors, UK High Commissioner, ambassadors of G7 countries would call on me and would have only one question. Excellency, tell us, where can companies from our countries join CPEC projects? And whether our companies can also take part in special economic zones you are setting up. So that was the global brand that Pakistan carried. Unfortunately, today we are passing through a rough patch because those policies were discontinued. But we are hopeful that just as we turned around Pakistan during 13-18, inshallah, in a couple of years, we will again be successful in turning around the economy and putting it on path of progress. I believe that as a country with a large youth bulge and a drive for entrepreneurship, Pakistan's long-term prospects remain extremely promising. This is why our government is pursuing a policy that promotes exports, improves domestic production, increases national revenues, and promotes regional connectivity and development partnerships. And we have now finalized a framework of 5 E's with exports on top, E-Pakistan, leveraging the digital potential of the country. 3, environment, in which we will focus on water and food security, energy to make a transition towards green energy, and 5, focusing on equity through education, health, and population control. So these 5 E's will be our roadmap for medium term to create a more strong foundation for Pakistan's long-term growth. At the same time, our government has remained singularly focused on the challenges of human security that come with difficult economic conditions. This is why our government has ensured the supply of free food grains to the most vulnerable of our citizens during the past 2 months. This year, due to our focused policies on ensuring food security for our people, our government has been able to produce bumper wheat crop of 27.5 million tons after a decade. We hope to fulfill all our domestic demand through locally grown food grains like wheat, eventually moving towards wheat export in the coming years. This is especially crucial for countries like Pakistan that have witnessed unprecedented disruptions in global wheat supply due to war in Ukraine, impacting our food security. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan is one of the worst affected countries due to climate change, despite contributing negligibly to global emissions. Last year alone, Pakistan suffered over $30 billion in economic losses due to unprecedented floods that affected 33 million people. Our 4.4 million acres of agricultural land was devastated, and over 800,000 livestock was killed due to floods of biblical proportions. Our government took the lead in reaching out to the international community for support towards the $16.5 billion required for reconstruction and rehabilitation. At the same time, Pakistan's undaunting diplomacy at COP27 helped push the agenda on loss and damage at the international level. Today, Pakistan faces severe water scarcity due to depleting glaciers as a result of climate change. Our economic losses due to climate change are some of the highest being faced in the world. We are not alone. Many other developing countries that do not contribute to climate change are faced with such losses. The international community must step up its efforts not just in lowering emissions, but equally in creating the mechanisms necessary to help developing countries devastated by climate change. Our government has approved the first ever national clean air policy last month to tackle the challenge of smog in our urban cities. Our government has also initiated a project to solarize all government buildings to help reduce energy burden by increasing the share of renewable energy to 10,000 megawatts. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan has been fighting a war against terrorism for almost 2 decades now. And today, I stand in front of you with the grace of Allah Almighty, having taken a bullet in my body from a short range for raising voice against extremism and terrorism. Much like the rest of our nation, the wound inflicted on my body was not able to dent my spirit. Rather, I stand as resolutely and as defiant as all of our nation has stood against the forces of darkness. This, ladies and gentlemen, is not just a story of me, a person, but that of the whole nation. Our nation has given tremendous sacrifices in the struggle against extremism and terrorism. Today, I am reminded of thousands of soldiers and civilians from all fields of life who gave their lives but did not succumb to the merchants of hate and death. Due to the immeasurable sacrifices of our valiant armed forces and law enforcement agencies, Pakistan has witnessed unprecedented success in reducing terrorism. And we have accomplished a journey where we were victim of terrorism, and from victim we became victors against terrorism. And Pakistan is willing to share its experience of fighting terrorism with other countries so that we can collectively make this world a safer place. Our gains against the terrorism have made Pakistan a more safe and secure country for our citizens and visitors alike. The turning point is the fight against terrorism was during our previous government when we brought together all political parties and government institutions to formulate the National Action Plan, which helped create a whole-of-government approach, rather whole-of-nation approach, to tackle the menace of terrorism. However, we are once again witnessing a slight comeback in terrorism-related activities. Let me assure that we are firm in our resolve to ensure that our gains against terrorism are not reversed. This is also due to discontinuity in policies during last 4 years. It is unfortunate that the recent rise in terrorism-related incidents has been a result of the failed policy of the previous government of talks with the TTP. This policy has not accrued any gains for Pakistan, which is why the National Security Committee has resolved to eradicate this menace from our society through renewed targeted operations against the terrorists and their supporters with zero tolerance. Let me also be categorical in stating that external powers, particularly in our region, have a direct role in supporting and fomenting terrorism inside Pakistan. We are wholly cognizant of this threat and have repeatedly shared evidences regarding this on all relevant international forums. Our adversaries must not underestimate our will to protect and preserve our nation and our way of life. Pakistan remains committed to peace at home and abroad. Our regional policy remains wedded to our commitments to seek a peaceful neighborhood based on mutual respect and the pursuit of shared prosperity. Pakistan is always ready for dialogue and diplomacy for peace and stability in South Asia. Pakistan's recent actions demonstrate that it is a responsible power in the region. We believe that our collective potential in the region cannot be truly unleashed unless we resolve our differences and progress towards greater trade and connectivity. Pakistan remains ready to engage in discussions with India for the resolution of all outstanding issues. Unfortunately, India's unilateral and illegal actions in the internationally recognized disputed region of Jammu and Kashmir have vitiated the bilateral environment. The pursuit of unilateral actions and the continuous violations of international law in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, including grave human rights violations and the arrest of Kashmiri political activists and journalists, are now amply evident to the world. The onus of creating a conducive environment for dialogue rests with India. It must reverse its actions of 5th August 2019, free all political prisoners and human rights violations, and give Kashmiris their rights for any forward movement towards peace and stability in South Asia. Pakistan remains committed to standing with Kashmiri people and will extend all possible political, diplomatic, and moral support till the peaceful resolution of Jammu and Kashmir dispute within the framework of United Nations Security Council resolutions. This again is a big question for international community, that why it is selective in the implementation of UN Security Council resolutions. While international community champions the cause of democracy, why does not it stand with the right of self-determination of Kashmiri people, which was promised to them by United Nations? Pakistan seeks a region that prospers as a result of trade and connectivity. However, we will resolutely defend against hegemonism and unilateralism. We believe that the Indian Ocean region is a common good and its security a shared objective. Pakistan rejects any self-appointed rule for any one country as a net security provider in the Indian Ocean region. We believe that the pursuit of militarization of the Indian Ocean region is detrimental to the prosperity of all and is only likely to further aggravate as already fragile regional security environment. Our desire for peace and dialogue must not be construed as weakness. We have demonstrated this in the past and resolve to do so in future. Pakistan remains committed to defending its territorial integrity. Our armed forces remain vigilant with a high level of preparedness to meet any eventuality. Pakistan will continue to ensure a robust conventional and strategic deterrence without entering into an armed race. However, recent introduction of high-end military technology in our immediate neighborhood remains a threat to regional peace and stability with a direct impact on our security. We urge the international community to exercise restraint in this regard. I would also like to mention that water is a lifeline for the nations of South Asia. Any disturbance in the established mechanism of water sharing will inevitably lead to conflict. We believe that existing arguments and their mechanisms should be utilized to discuss and resolve perceived disagreements instead of resorting to any form of unilateralism. We also remain deeply concerned about the situation in Afghanistan. Pakistan shares a 1,500-mile border and deep historic and cultural ties with Afghanistan. Recent history is proof that instability in Afghanistan impacts Pakistan's security and stability first and foremost. Pakistan remains committed to ensuring a stable, prosperous, and sovereign Afghanistan. We are mindful of the humanitarian situation inside Afghanistan, exacerbated by sanctions that impact the average Afghan citizen. We believe that the best way forward for the international community and Afghanistan's neighbors remains engagement. Pakistan continues to share its concerns with the interim Afghan government with a view towards addressing all concerns through dialogue and discussions. We urge the interim Afghan government to address the concerns of the international community and to take whatever steps necessary to help alleviate the humanitarian situation on the ground for the people of Afghanistan. In conclusion, we must recognize that our world is undergoing profound transformations, but the path that we choose remains subject to our collective wisdom. The international community must work together, building and strengthening mechanisms of cooperation on our shared global challenges which require a holistic and integrated approach. We need to work collaboratively to address these challenges and ensure that our people are safe, secure, and prosperous. I hope that the Islamabad Security Dialogue will provide a platform for meaningful discussions and concrete solutions to promote peace, security, and development in our region and the world at large. I look forward to hearing your policy recommendations during these 2 days of deliberations. Pakistan Zindabad.
Thank you to Federal Minister Ehsan Iqbal for his inaugural address. I would now like to request Secretary National Security Division, Engineer Amir Hassan, to present a small souvenir to the Minister. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our inaugural session. Once again, thank you very much to Federal Minister Ehsan Iqbal for gracing us for the inaugural session. Our next session, the Commanders Forum, will begin at 12 o'clock. So we have a half an hour break. There's tea outside, and guests are more than welcome to partake. And see you at 12 o'clock. Thank you.